Hi, I'm Bob Alsop with ShopSabre CNC. Around here they call me RouterBob. We've got a really neat video for you today featuring our ShopSabre SideKick Plasma machine. You know, there's a whole classification of products that are standalone products you can make with a plasma, and we're going to do one of those. But before we do that, let's take a look at this machine. Like all ShopSabre CNC machine tools, the Plasma series features all welded structural steel frame. Now, we actually offer 3 different table configurations. We offer a downdraft table, we offer a blow-through table, and in our case here, this is a water table, and we've treated this water with a special product that we created here at ShopSabre called Plasma Defense. It's antimicrobial and it's also rust-proofing. Now, let's go to the next level here and let's talk about machine control. The first component of machine control is actually motion control, and let's take a look at how we do that on the SideKick. First off, we start with a gantry that's made out of structural steel. Now there's a couple reasons we do that. One is the steel handles the heat that's involved in plasma much better, and it also gives you a little bit more accuracy, and long term the machine should last a lot longer. Now onto that gantry we've mounted precision contour guide rails. That's actually what controls the movement. Right? In the Z-axis we have a ball screw. Now this machine has the optional ball screw in the X-axis. In the Y-axis we have a dual drive system that uses rack and pinion, and we have our proprietary floating drive systems on that. Now let's go look at another component of machine control. The final component of machine control is actually the machine controller itself, and we developed the ShopSabre Plasma controller based on a real robust technology, and we did that because we wanted to make sure everything was reliable. But you know, there's another side of the machine controller, and that's the people part of it. So we wanted to make the operator interface real easy to use. First off, it's running in Windows, so that gives you the ability to interface to the network and to other things. But in terms of the operator, everything is selected from one screen. Now there's another issue that people that are new to plasma seem to worry about, and that is how you configure it, because each different material has some different settings that you use. Well, we simplified that. First off, we have a system where you can actually pre-configure the materials that you're going to use most of the time. So all the machine operator has to do is select off of a drop-down list for the material. There's nothing else to be done. Now also, plasmas use consumables, and here's how we handle that. We actually put that information on the machine control itself. So instead of having to get a book out and find the part numbers, they're right there for you. And that sheet also has all the different settings for different materials should you need to configure something different. Now, finally, let's look at something that's really, really important in plasma, and it's called torch height control. Now, here's why it's important. What happens is the torch on a plasma is not perfectly parallel. It's kind of conical. So the width of the cut changes based on height. So if your height changes, your accuracy changes. So we created a system to control that's based on voltage, and it runs automatically. So that's going to give you much better cuts, and it's going to give you really, really good accuracy. Now, there's one final part of plasma we haven't talked about yet, and that's the heads themselves, and let's take a look at that. This machine actually features a couple optional heads. The first one is an oxy-fuel head, and that allows you to actually cut thicker material. And then this is actually a vibrating plate engraver. Now it's really neat. Here's what you do with it. Let's say, for instance, that I've cut these parts out and I'd like to attach a part number to each one. That will actually engrave the part number into those pieces. But there's another neat feature that provides, and that is, let's say you've got an irregular shaped part and there's going to be some holes drilled in it later down the process. You can actually mark the locations of those holes with the machine. So downstream, the operator doesn't have to do that. They're already located. So that's a really neat feature. Now, the torch itself is a hypertherm torch with a breakaway. Now, we're just about ready to actually make something on this machine. We're not going to need this head, so we'll take it off. We'll put a piece of material on the table. Let's go into the office and see how we create this neat product. You know, CNC gives us the ability to make parts that have a lot of curves in them. You know, sometimes we do that with a CNC router, and we might cut wood, plastic, non-ferrous, stuff like that. But you know, if you take plasma, you can actually take steel plate and cut irregular shapes out of it. Now, a lot of times when we do one of these video demonstrations, we make a machine part or some kind of bracket. But I wanted to actually get into something a little different on this video, and that is decorative stuff. There's actually a whole class of products that you can make with a plasma that are really standalone products. And that's what we're going to do on this video. Now let me show you how we arrived at this. Okay, we started the process by going out to the internet and looking for some plans. And we went to DIYWELDINGPLANS.com and we found this neat product. What you see in this photo is actually a finished assembled product, and it's a fire pit, and it's made out of 14 gauge mild steel, and you cut it out as a flat pattern, and then it folds together to create the shape, and you tack weld it together. Now let's take a look at the actual layout that's folded out. Now there's really two parts there. One of these assemblies actually folds into the base and the other folds into the rest of the fire pit. Let's take a little bit closer look at the geometry. You know what's really neat about plasma is I can have so much detail. So I can cut these palm trees out. Think about if you had to do that some other way. Now also what they've done here is there's some slots here that are placed on these folds to make it easier to bend. So when you fold it together, it makes it much easier for assembly. All right, now let's just take a look at what a simulation actually looks like. Here's what's going to happen first. The machine's going to move over to the first position, and we're going to probably go around and cut all of those little pierced areas next. And then once those are cut, then we cut the remaining straight line parts, and that gets us to there. And that's all there really is to it. So once we get the material out to the machine, all we really have to do is lay it on the machine, load the program, and run it. And we should get a fire pit. Let's go out to the machine. Boy, this came out really, really nice. You really have to see this up close to really understand how much complexity there is there. You know, something that really stood out with me while I was watching it was how well our torch height control performed, and also how much the smoke was controlled by the water table. You know, here's a piece I also found. This is actually a drop, so a drop is a scrap. This is that little palm tree. The intricacy of the detail is just unbelievable. I just don't know how you make that part any other way. Now, I'm going to turn this over to our ShopSabre assembly team, and they're going to put it together, and we'll be right back. Well, this came out really, really nice. It's just amazing how this intricate pattern folded up into such a beautiful product. You know, as soon as we're finished here, I'm going to take it outside and build a fire in it and see how it works. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. We had a great time doing this. I wanted to select something to show you that you can make standalone products with a plasma, and I think this worked out really, really well. If you have any questions, you can contact us at ShopSabre.com. Thank you for watching. Hey, it works. Holy cow. Man, we need this out here today in Minnesota.